baby.
Live. You are looking live. Remember when Keith Jackson used to say that, Richard? You are looking live.
Actually, I prefer live from New York. It's Saturday night.
That seems like what life is right now. Everything in life seems like one big Saturday Night Live skit.
Ooh, good segue.
It does. What do you think about this Kenny Pickett stuff? Now, I don't care about any of this. Did he tell the truth? Did he not? Which he actually did tell the truth, and they didn't want to put him out there and be the third quarterback. But you know what the real story is now? That a healthy Kenny Pickett is number 2 on the depth chart. And how does he make his way back to being the starter, if at all? Does it happen in the offseason? Does it happen to start next year? Is he ever the starter again? There's a big story here.
I think it's all, I don't think you can draw any conclusions from anything. I think it's way too soon. So to those that think, Mason Rudolph is the guy, what happens Saturday if he implodes? Is he still?
I know.
Is he still the guy? I mean, you want to base all these crazy thoughts on 2 games? And I didn't really see the second game as much. I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I mean, don't forget, you changed the offensive coordinator, right? Mason Rudolph always could throw a nice deep ball. He did that.
Yes.
That was something he did well, right? And now, if you give him the protection, your offensive line's coming to fruition. It's all coming together. I think the bigger story is Najee, to be honest with you. I do. I think, but the quarterback is the glory. The quarterback is the golden child. So we'll talk about the quarterback. I don't think Kenny Pickett lost his job, but I think he's going to compete for it.
You're right. Let's take this twofold. I totally agree with everything you just said. I think there will be a true open competition. But something else you said piqued my interest, because I don't think enough people do this in talk radio or sports talk radio. They admit when they're wrong. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I didn't think Najee could work his way back into, okay, you tinker with maybe a second contract with him. What he's done over the past month or so, he's looked like a back that you better have on your team and you don't let go to another team. It looks like a totally different guy. Richard, I may have been wrong about this guy. He's running with conviction. He's running people over. And maybe what he needed was Jaylen Warren to scare him that he was going to take his job.
I don't know, Colin, to be honest with you. I mean, I've gone both ways on this topic. When he was drafted, of course, a lot of the talk was we shouldn't draft a running back at number 1. Well, I think Christian McCaffrey has proven that a strong running back really does help set up the whole offense. Of course, it all trickles down the offensive line and blah, 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 blah. But a lot of people really weren't happy with the first round pick in Najee. I loved it. However, I lost my love for that after watching, so I went from thinking it was a great idea to, oh my God, where did he go? Where did Najee Harris go? And now Najee Harris, to your point, exactly, I agree exactly, and I never agree exactly with you. But I agree exactly with every word you said, that this is a guy you don't want to go to another team. This is a guy you give that second contract to. And this is a guy that now you take it from here. This is the baseline. 6 games ago isn't the baseline. This is now the baseline. So now we take it and we grow it from here. And I think you got something. And I think, and again, even the Mike Tomlin criticisms about, a two-back offense, I really was never that big of a component, not a component, but I never really liked the idea that much. But I do like it now because it's working. So it makes it easy to like. And, you see a lot of other teams run that same system. So I think you do have the right 2 backs, no question. Yeah, I don't know who's going to be the offensive coordinator. Maybe they keep whoever they have. I don't know.
No. That's another issue. This can't be a case of because you had a little success toward the end of the year that you just keep stability with the coaching staff. You need to go out and get a bright, young mind, somebody like that. That has to happen.
Well, okay. So I talk in two speak in both sides of my mouth. Here, I
Okay.
speak once from what I think, and then I speak once from what I think the Steelers will do. So I think, and sometimes there's a disconnect. I think they're two different things. What I think is what you think. What I also think is, however, the fact that we might get enamored with some of this success and assume this system where you have an offensive coordinator and a guy that calls the plays, that system works with the people that are in it. I'm not sure that's the right thing or the right way. I think we need a badass offensive coordinator. I love Byron Leftwich. Is he available?
He would be, yes.
I love him. Love him. And I think he checks all the boxes with what we need. He's an offensive guy. He's an offensive player. He's a quarterback. I think he could bring a lot to the game. I really do. So that said, what are your thoughts on Mason?
Mason he's the easiest guy in the world to root for. Okay, he had everything that happened with Myles Garrett. He had. You remember, this is something that gets forgotten about with Mason. He got hit so hard they had to unscrew his face mask. He went to get on the cart, and the cart wouldn't start. They pretty much made him walk to AGH. Do you remember that ridiculous saga when he was on the medical cart? So that happened. He gets into all that. He's in a doghouse pretty much. Duck starts over him. Like, he's just been the constant that has stayed. I didn't like his game at times. Like you, though, I've paid attention. He has always been able to throw the deep ball. He has always stayed in the pocket. He has never shied away from staying in the pocket. He will take a hit, and that is big in this offense.
So let me ask you this about that, because
yes.
you bring another great point up. And that great point is, did we play with and experiment with a very mobile quarterback long enough to know that we prefer the Ben Roethlisberger stay in the pocket quarterback?
That's a good question. Here's my answer.
Yeah.
In a roundabout way. Maybe and maybe not. What we did put to bed is this. It wasn't just all the offensive coordinator's fault, because we saw another guy come in as a quarterback and have success. And that's, the quarterback needs to stay in the pocket and absorb a hit. Some of the ills of the offense were Kenny Pickett's fault, for sure, because Mason Rudolph has had success with that essentially the same offense the past couple weeks.
I agree with that. I don't want to agree with that, but I do agree with that.
Neither do I. I don't want to agree with it. I want to put it all on Matt Canada. I want to say it's all his fault.
Yeah,
it was all him.
I do too. But yeah, no, I mean, I get it. And watching Kenny was, I mean, it just was different. I don't know why. It seemed like something happened. I don't know what it was, but it was very different. And it was like, maybe it was his reads, maybe the routes weren't being run right. Maybe there was miscommunication, but there seemed to be a lot of miscommunication. So go ahead.
If Mason Rudolph, the last two games that he played, if he played like that the first two games after Ben Roethlisberger retired, let's say that Mitch Trubisky wasn't here, they'd think he was the heir to the throne for a decade. I mean, seriously.
I don't disagree with that. But here's the thing. He didn't.
Correct.
And he didn't get the shot because, I mean, and then Mitch Trubisky, he just has horrible judgment. I mean, he just makes some really bad choices. So yes, Mitch will probably be gone, and it will be an open competition. And I wouldn't be surprised if we draft a quarterback. The thing that bothers me about that, I don't know, even if you traded Kenny Pickett started the season, year number 1, 20 teams passed on him. 20 teams that had quarterback needs.
30 teams passed on Mason Rudolph when he went in free agency.
I know, but you're getting ahead of me.
Okay. No, go ahead.
So 20 teams passed on him. Now he goes out on the field and displays what he's displayed this year so far. Does his value go up or does it go down?
Probably goes down.
I think so too. I think that that's what happened, right? I think that he had his showcase ability. He had the opportunity to do that. But I don't think you take those 20 teams that already passed on him once. What happens?
Well, this is where Mason, the key player in all of this, Mason Rudolph's agent. Because what happens is Mitch Trubisky will be gone. His number will be off the books. That frees up some money. Mason Rudolph, his agent needs to say to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I need two things from you. One, I need money. And two,
multi-year contract.
And I need a promise at St. Vincent that it is a true quarterback competition and that my guy has a chance to truly be the starter week one, or I'll just go somewhere else and sit on the bench and be a backup and get paid a bunch of money. If I can get both of those things, I'll stick around in Pittsburgh.
So what did he get? $2 million this year?
For a single year.
And Trubisky got $8 million.
Yes.
Guaranteed $8 million?
Yeah, I mean, but you can jockey with that money. You can take it off the books, and it frees up some cap space, and they could essentially allocate that money to Mason Rudolph.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Mason Rudolph could get a $5 million deal in Pittsburgh if he wanted.
Well, but as long as it's multi-year, I like the way you positioned it. Who is his agent?
I don't know who his agent is, but he's very important right now. That's for sure.
Yeah. What's more important is that Mason Rudolph doesn't implode on Saturday. Because if he implodes Saturday, goodbye Mason again. See you later, pal.
As quick as he's climbed this mountain, he could tumble back off of it.
100%.
And there's also going to be weather on Saturday in Baltimore. That's the other question.
Did we misjudge him? Because somebody judged him properly in order to have drafted him to begin with. Mason Rudolph, to me, never got the fair shot because Ben Roethlisberger was really angry that we drafted him, didn't see the need for it, and he alienated him. And I think that made us look at him a little bit differently. Now, I saw Ben, and Ben's a friend of mine. So, no criticism of Ben. Reality is reality, sports is sports. It is what it is. But he's got his own show, as you know. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but in his podcast, he addressed that. What did he say about that? Do you know?
He said he was not mad or upset at Mason as a person or a human or a football player. He was mad that the Pittsburgh Steelers allocated a draft pick to a quarterback when they could have helped him out with a receiver or running back, an offensive lineman or whatever. Very easy to say now, but if he truly felt that way, why not take him under his wing and try to help him out and be more personable with him?
Yeah, I think both those things are true. I don't think it's or, I think it's and. I think that both of those statements are accurate because they're consistent. He said the same exact thing when they drafted him. He did not make it secret. He didn't understand why they would do that. But remember, wasn't that also in times of the 3Bs? Didn't we have Antonio Brown? We had Le'Veon Bell, right? What are you going to go draft those positions for? They're superstars. And then Le'Veon decides he's going to, not play for a year or 2 years.
Right.
And Antonio just implodes. Why would they draft those two positions? You had those people.
That's what Ben says. But
and again, like I said, I think both of those statements are true because he did say that very consistently right from the beginning. So, it's fun to play GM, and Omar, I actually try to pump Omar for information all the time. He gives me nothing. But so it's interesting and it's fun. But now what? Who wins Saturday?
I think the Steelers will win because Baltimore's not playing anybody. I don't think the other things that will happen. I'm the worst guy at this team needs to beat this team, I don't know the other stuff, but I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers will win, but I don't think the other stuff will happen, and I think they'll miss the playoffs, but they'll get to 10 wins.
I'm with you. I don't know about who. I mean, it's way too complicated for me. The only thing you can control is what's on your team. So go win the damn game, and then let it all happen as it may. I think Mason's going to have a great game. He could implode. I think he's going to have a great game. I think they found the success formula with George Pickens. I think George Pickens needs to do. We've talked about this before. George Pickens needs to be an integral part of that offense because he can bring so many things to that position. I also think that what's his name? 18. What's his name?
Deontay Johnson.
Deontay. I think Deontay is done. as a Pittsburgh Steeler. I think he doesn't bring anything to the game, and he can add value somewhere, right? But that's a couple of the things I think.
Can I tell you one thing before we go? And I know we talk sports, but I have to tell you one thing about cars before we go. And this is your business. I told Chelsea this, right? Chelsea from you know, Chelsea.
I'm kidding.
I have very seldom in my life had a car experience. You know, my son is a gigantic car guy. Had a car
amazing.
He's incredible. He's going to work. He's going to design Ford cars someday. Ford race cars. He's going to design Ford performance cars. I know he is.
Him and right with the right people, and that can happen.
There's only a few times in my life. One was with the new F-150. Whenever they redid the interior and everything, and there's only been 2 times in my life I've ever gone, this is an incredible, ridiculous driving experience, and I had it on Saturday.
I'm afraid to ask. What did you drive?
The Mach-E is one of the most incredible cars I've ever driven in my life.
Is that incredible?
I
didn't know you drove one. Which one? Did you drive a GT?
Yes. It is like the most souped up golf cart in the history of the world, the way it takes off, because you don't hear it. But you feel the G's like a roller coaster. And you're not like speeding or anything. It just gets from 0 to 40 in like 10 feet.
I know.
And the screen inside of it is bigger than my television. And I have a very big television. And all the connectivity and everything, it's like sitting in your living room, driving your living room around. It's incredible.
I love what you're saying. Hopefully Chelsea can clip a little bit of that and use it, because I gotta be honest with you. You can't even explain it. When you hit that accelerator, the front end of the car, I'm actually a little afraid of it. It actually lifts, right? Like if you just punch it, the front end of that car lifts up, and you feel like you're going to lose it almost. It's insane.
I've never had a driving experience like it.
I agree.
And it's just, and the comfortability inside of it is, it's like you're in a rocket ship driving it, but it's like you're sitting in your living room in the interior. It's the most incredible car I've ever driven. I
didn't even know you had one over the weekend, because I would have called you about it. What color did you have?
This incredible, like LA Dodger blue.
Like blue, yeah, the blue.
Oof.
Unbelievable. You still have it?
No, I just had it for a couple days. Wanted to check it out and see it. I've got this this nice package Explorer now, this outdoor Highline or something like that, Explorer. It's super nice.
I'm not the best at product. Can't really tell you. But
no. Yeah, but anyway. But the Mach-E GT, it feels like you're in a car that the model year is like 2058.
I'm really glad to hear you say that. I mean, really, the only obstacle between us and selling thousands of those is getting people to just experience it. And just because once they do, there's nothing to sell. It sells itself, right? I mean, I could sell 1,000 a month. If I had 1,000 people that go in and try that vehicle, 1,000 people are going to buy it.
I agree. And I'm not in I'm not a big car head. But my son was in it. He was like, Dad, this is it. Like, this is the future.
Experience like the throwback in the seat.
Yeah. And he was all about it. So anyway,
great. Well,
that's that.
Tell him hi. Thank you for getting back. This is a brand new 2024. We didn't even talk about that. I hope you had a wonderful year end. And it's really exciting to be back with you for 2024.
Exciting to be back with you. We will talk soon, Richard.
Thanks, CD.